As you are entering the seminar, I will start with a brief disclaimer. CLE presentations are intended for educational purposes only and do not replace professional judgment. Statements of fact and opinions expressed are those of the presenters individually and, unless expressly stated to the contrary, are not the opinion of the Florida Bar or its committees. The Florida Bar does not endorse or approve and assumes no responsibility for the content, accuracy, or completeness of the information presented. Any feedback should be provided to the event organizer. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Florida Registered Paralegal Enrichment Committee's August 29th, 2025 free CLE webinar, Domestic Violence Protection Strategies for Professional Women. During the webinar, if you have a question for the presenter, please post it in the question and answer section at the bottom of the screen. The chat feature is disabled. Some of the questions will be answered by the presenter at the end of the presentation. Due to time constraints, there may not be time to answer all questions. At the end of the webinar, I will provide everyone with the course number. We are not taking attendance. You will need to self-report your credits in the member portal following the seminar. I will now turn it over to the FRP Enrichment Committee CLE Subcommittee Vice Chair, Logan Bartholomew.
Thank you, Diana, and good day, everyone. The Florida Registered Paralegal Enrichment Committee invites all our participants today to visit the FRP Corner on the Florida Bar website, as well as our various social media platforms. It is there you will find helpful tips and announcements of upcoming events and our monthly webinars. Sonjanita Coleman Jordan is the owner of LA Paralegals LLC and the CEO of Dual Support Incorporated, a nonprofit organization focused on helping and healing women going through trauma as it relates to separation, divorce, and domestic violence. She has been a paralegal for 20 years with a vast career that spans several areas. She's a former member of the New Orleans Paralegal Association and served 3 terms as its president from 2015 through 2017. Sonjanita serves on the Paralegal Advisory Board at North Shore Community College and the General Legal Studies Advisory Board at Tulane University. And she is also a speaker, author, and master life coach. Thank you, Sonjanita, for presenting today. I will now turn it over to you.
Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name again is Sonjanita Jordan, and I thank you for allowing me to present to you today. And our topic is going to be on domestic violence, the law, and professional women. I would really appreciate it if you do have questions to put them in the Q&A box, and I will try to answer as many as possible and as many as time allows. We're going to get started. So we're going to talk about this subject of domestic violence. As we know, domestic violence has always been part of history. But I noticed in 2020 when COVID came about, the numbers just became more staggering. They were already staggering, but they became more staggering. So the dual support has been an entity since 2020, July 24th, 2020. So we became a nonprofit in the midst of COVID. So the first question I want to ask, are professional women exempt from domestic violence? And this is something during my studies and research and talking to people that I found that there's a untruth about domestic violence and professional women. And I gave someone this question. If you have a female that works at a fast food chain, or you have a female that is an attorney or doctor, who would you say is more apt to experience domestic violence? And 8 out of the 10 answers that I got was the female that works at the fast food chain, which is not true. So the answer is, are professional women exempt from domestic violence? The answer is no. Domestic violence has no creed. It has no it doesn't look at your economic status. It doesn't look at your background. It doesn't look at your religion. It doesn't look at any of that. It does not matter. Professional women, such as ourselves, along with other women, all women can experience domestic violence. I'm not going to say all women do, but all women can. And it does not matter whether you are where you work or what you do. So we're going to talk about what is domestic violence. Domestic violence is a pattern of intentional acts. Now remember this word intentional. Intentional acts or behaviors used by one partner against another to gain and maintain power and control. Domestic violence is about power and control, period. It's about patterns, the intentionality, and the power and control. So intentional is the deliberate, repeated pattern of behavior. And number one, it causes the victim to fear the pattern of violence that will be used against them. Once someone does something and they see how you react to it, and if they are an abuser and they see if they raise their voice, you're going to flinch. Or if they raise their voice, you're going to cry. Or they watch how you respond. And so when they see a pattern of something they do that puts you on the offensive or makes you vulnerable or makes you feel small, they will continue to use that pattern of behavior to control. It's intentional. It's an intentional pattern. That's why I said, keep intentional in your mind. So again, one, causes the victim to fear the pattern of violence that will be used against them. Two, has an impact on the survivor's daily activity. If you are a victim of abuse, whether you're at work, you're at home, let's say you're at work and you get off at 5 o'clock and you know that today is Tuesday and he or she is going to always on Tuesdays, they come in and act a certain way. That's going to impact you on Tuesdays because you know what's going to happen when I get home. That's going to impact your daily routine, your daily activity, your daily patterns, your daily thoughts. It's going to impact you, whether you are very quiet, whether you are nervous, whether you get a headache, it's going to impact you. And it could be, it's the weekend. Saturdays, you and he or she are off, and you know that it's just going to be some type of chaos. So that's what that means by has an impact on the survivor's daily activity. And number three, the abuser knows that this behavior impacts the survivor's life. It's intentional. They know it's deliberate, they repeat it, and it's a pattern. So when we say intentional, it's deliberate, it's repeated, and it's a pattern that they use. Why is it important to understand what domestic violence is? Number one, it helps in processing feelings. You have to know what you're looking at. Dual Support, we are a nonprofit organization that helps women that are going through separation, divorce, and domestic violence, just bad relationships. And I tell the ladies there that it helps you. You have to know what you're looking at to know what you're looking at. So you have to know a person. You have to know who they are, their patterns, and what they're showing you. So number one, it helps in processing your feelings. Number two, it helps in navigating your healing process. You have to know that you're being abused. You have to understand you're being abused. You have to accept the fact that you're being abused to learn how to come out of that. So why is it important to understand what domestic violence is? It helps in navigating your healing process. It helps in navigating you through your trauma. Number three, It makes the survivor, you, become aware of the red flags in other relationships. We have these flags, and we talk about the red flags in relationships that we just overlook. Now, to get to the red flags, you really overlooked the yellow flags because there were some hints. There were some things that happened and you went, hmm. But you was like, it's nothing. That was those yellow flags that then in turn got us to the red flag. So it's a process. Number 4, why is it important to understand what domestic violence is? It serves as an empowerment tool to assist the survivor to regain your identity, stability, and control of your life again. Again, what I say is you have to know what you're looking at to know what you're looking at. And you have to know what you're looking at so that you can get out of that. Okay, understand where you have been to get where you are going. Like I just said, in order to know that you have been abused or you are a victim of abuse, you have to understand that. So you can come out of that, process out of that, and figure out where you're going, what you want to do. So this is what we call our power and control wheel. And I have the copy right here. I'm going to read from here because that writing is a little bit little. So if you can look at it, and if I can find it, I'm sorry, I had it right here. Okay, so this is the power and control wheel. And you have your physical violence, your sexual violence, and we're going to talk more than a physical and sexual today. So your power and control wheel. One thing that the abuser will use are these elements on this wheel. Maybe all of them, maybe one of them, maybe two or three of them. But an abuser or someone who is manipulative will use one of these tactics, if not all of these tactics, to control. So we're going to start with the intimidation. They use intimidation by making him or her afraid by using looks, actions, gestures, knocking, smacking things, just going through, knocking things off of shelves, destroying your property, abusing pets, displaying weapons. Those are intimidation tactics. Someone comes in and they're acting up, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're knocking things off the wall, they're brandishing a gun, or they pick up a knife. They're trying to intimidate you. And a lot of times that works, especially if you're not used to that type of behavior. And even if you've come from that type of behavior, it still is an intimidation tactic. And when I say come from that type of behavior, maybe you grew up in a home where domestic violence was prevalent, where it was seen, and you've seen these behaviors before. So that's what I mean by that. They also use emotional abuse, meaning putting him or her down, making him or her feel bad about oneself, calling him or her names, making him or her think they're crazy, playing mind games, humiliating him or her, making her or him feel guilty. This is our emotional abuse, verbal abuse. And people will use these tactics to control you. They will put you down. They will say what you aren't. They will call you out of your names. I had one lady that I did some coaching. I'm a master life coach and I do coaching. And she said to me, well, he wasn't abusive. He never hit me, but he just would say stuff or he would call me out my name. And I had to let her understand that that is abuse. A lot of people think if it's not physical, if you're not being punched or kicked or hit, that is not abuse. It is abuse. And we as women, and if there's some gentlemen on here, we're going to talk about you too. But as a woman, we have to understand what abuse is and what it looks like because like that young lady, she didn't think she was being abused because he would call her names, and I'm talking about some very nasty names. He would call her, and I'm like, That's verbal abuse, and there's emotional abuse also. So another tactic that a that someone will use is isolation. They will try to isolate you. You may come from a circle of a family where you guys get together on the holidays, or you go by and see your mom or your sister once a week on a week. I mean, once a week, maybe on one weekend or anything like that. And then you see where it's becoming a problem. Uh, you may go out on a girls' night once a month on a Saturday or Friday. You and your girlfriends leave work. We're gonna go on a girls' night just wind down from the week. It becomes a problem as to well, why aren't you coming home? But when they met you, it was okay. You were doing these things. They saw what you did and it was okay. But as you progress through the relationship, it becomes a problem. Now, I'm gonna put some balance on this. All of these things are not power and control. You can have people who are genuinely concerned about your well-being, where you're going to be, what time you're going to make it. So I can, if you say you're coming home at 10 or 10:30, 11, whatever time, if you're not here by then, I can call and check on you. There's a fine line between control and abuse. And you have to be aware because it's very subtle. Abuse and control can be very, very, very subtle. So I just want to, say that all of these things, if someone is calling you and you're out with your girls and you say you're going to be home at 11 and it's 12:30 and they call, where are you? Maybe they're genuinely concerned. So you have to understand, again, who you're with, their mannerisms, their attitude. So using isolation, there people will try to isolate you from your support system. If you have friends that'll tell you, girl, or if you have men, man, I don't think she or he is the one. I'm seeing some things. And sometimes when we're in something so close, we can't see it for what it really is because we're too close to it. But sometimes the people on the outside looking in can see things clearer than we can see things. They can see things a little clearer than us. So keep that in mind. So if you're in a situation where isolation, you're beginning to see that you and your family meet for brunch on the second Saturday of every month. And this is what you've been doing for a year or two or however long. And when you met this person, they knew this is what you did. Now, 6 months, a year into the relationship, they always find a way to get you not to do that. They always plan something for you and them to do on that day. You have to look at that and you have a conversation with that person. Say, I've noticed the last couple of months you planned something with you and I to do, and you be like, I appreciate that, but you're planning it on the same weekend, and they may come back and say, well, that's the only weekend I'm off in the month, or give you an excuse that is a great excuse, and then you and that person can talk about it and say, well, since you're only off this weekend, I'm going to see if I can change from the second Saturday and I'll do something with them on the third Saturday. That's reasonable. But if it's just a tactic where, well, I just want to do something with you that day, you got 3 other Saturdays. If they're off every Saturday, you get what I'm saying. So the isolation can become subtle, especially if the abuser sees you have a great support system, people who love you, people who will take care of you, people who are going to take care of you, not just mentally but physically and help financially, that love you. An abuser may want to try to get you away from your support system. Once they have you away and isolated, they don't like somebody. I never liked your friend, such but such and such never did anything to make him or her not like them. Why? Because maybe they see the relationship that you and this person has, and they're intimidated by it. So we're going to go on to minimizing, denying, and blaming. The person to take power and control will make light of the abuse and not taking his or her, taking your concerns about it seriously. What do I mean? Verbal abuse. They call you out your name and you tell them, look, I don't like the way you talk to me. It really hurt my feelings. And they'll come back and say something like, oh, you're just too sensitive. Oh, what are you talking about? I was just playing with you. They make light of their abuse. And it makes you try to make you feel what you don't feel. They're gaslighting you. That's a whole nother conversation. Gaslighting and ghosting and love bombing. But they're gaslighting you to make you not believe what you know is true. You know how you feel, but they will gaslight you into believing, no, it's not that serious. I was just playing with you. Okay? Saying the abuse didn't happen. Just what I said. Oh, you're taking that too serious. But they just called you, whether it's a profane name, whether they call you fat, skinny, whatever. You have the right to feel how you feel, and you have the right to voice how you feel, and they should take into account how you feel and try to not do that again. But if they minimize it and they make light of it, and I'm just playing with you, and they continue to do this, you need to take a look at that seriously. So some of us may have children with our abuser. They will use the children against you. They will make you feel guilty about the children and using the children to relay messages, using visitation to harass you and threatening to take the children away. So let's talk about making you feel guilty about the children. Some of us have divorced, maybe, I'll say. Some of us have left a relationship or divorced where we had children with our partner. And if we left, I'll say some of us may have left for the right reason, some of us may not have. But if you left because you were being abused or wasn't being treated right, and you wanted to get you and your children out of that environment, and you were able to leave and you left, they will say things, especially if they know the reasons you left were their fault. They will make you feel guilty. Look what you're doing to our children. Look how you've broken up our home. But you know why you left. You know the reasons you left. You know that that was not a safe environment for you or your children. You know that that was not an environment that was safe mentally for you or your children. The children see the arguing. The children see the fighting. The children see the bickering. And so you make a decision that's good for you and your children to leave. They will try to make you feel guilty about that, using the children to relay messages. The children go away for the weekend with their other parent. They come back. Say it's a Friday to a Sunday or a Thursday to a Monday, whatever it is, a week, 1 week to another week. And the children come back. Daddy said this about you. Daddy told me to tell you this. To bring balance to it, that is okay. That can be used. That can be done. Daddy's wanted me to tell you that he's going to call you to set up the time for our next visit. That's okay. Daddy can call you, but sometimes that happens. Daddy says, tell your mom that I'm going to call her. That's okay. But when it gets to the derogatory, Daddy said that it's your fault that we have to do this. Daddy wanted us to tell you that you broke up our home. Using the children, using visitation to harass you. Happens a lot. Happens a lot. You move and you get another place. Say you leave the home, or say you stay in the marital home or the home you guys shared and they had to leave, or you leave the home. They'll come get the children. Oh, I see you moved over here. Da 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 da. Just harassing you for no reason, doing visitation. You were 2 minutes late getting here with the kids. Well, I got caught by a train on the track, or there was an accident. You were late. You were 2 minutes late, but they take that opportunity to harass you and threatening to take the children away. This is a big one. It happens a lot also. I'm going to get full custody of these children. You're not a good mother. You're not a good father. And I'm going to take the children and I'm going to move. If we don't get back together, I make more money than you. I can do much better for them than what you're doing. And I'm going to try to get full custody or sole custody. And then I'm going to leave if we don't work this thing out. It happens. Power and control. All of the ones that I just mentioned and all the ones on this wheel are ways that a manipulator, ways that an abuser, ways that people want to gain power and control over you using male privilege. And we're going to say using female privilege, treating him or her like a servant, making all the big decisions. I'm the man. I make more money. So this is what we're going to do. And it should never be about who makes more money, more money. It should be about a partnership. It should be, unless you've sat down with your partner and you guys have made the decision to let the other one make all the decisions, where we're going to vacation, when we're going to go. But you have a voice, whether you're female or male, you have a voice in that relationship. You have a voice. Okay, using economic abuse, preventing him or her from getting or keeping a job, making him or her ask for money, giving him or her an allowance, taking his or her money, not letting him or her know about or have access to family income. This is a big one, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if there are any men on here, but I don't want to leave anyone out. Different households are set up differently. If you and your partner, your spouse, your partner, have sat down and said, look, we're going to have one account. I'm going to have access to it. I'm going to give you X, Y, Z out of the account every week. And that's going to be your allowance. And I'm going to take care of everything else. If you agree to that and you're okay with that and that's working for you, fine. But if you meet someone that wants to control the finances, and there's nothing wrong with a joint account, and there's nothing wrong with separate accounts. However, because some people be like, well, you're married, you're supposed to have one account. Oh, well, you shouldn't have a joint account. You should have separate accounts. I can't say what you should have. All I can say is what works for you is what you should have. Whether it's a joint account, whether it's separate accounts, whether it's a joint account where the majority of your paycheck and their paycheck goes, say 80% goes into that joint account, and then the other 20% goes into your account and their account, and that's your spending money, that's your nail money, that's your going out with the girls or fellas money. If that's the way you set it up, that's fine. But you have to be very careful when you get to a person who wants to control the finances against your will. They want to ration out the money to you, and you're not comfortable with that. Because what can happen, if it's not mutual, they can control all the money. And say if they start controlling all the money, they basically control you. Meaning, if they control the money and then they start being emotionally abusive, or they start isolating, or they start being physically abusive, and you see that this is not good for me. If you don't have access to the accounts, if you don't have any money, you can't leave. It's a tactic. It's a power and control tactic. Again, you have to set up whatever the way the finances are in your household, the way that's best for you. I can't say a joint account is not good. I can't say separate accounts are not good. I say do what's best for you. However, if you are in a situation where you are not comfortable and you're beginning to see powers of you're beginning to see power and control tactics, then you have to look at this. Because if you need to leave, if you're being abused, if you're being emotionally abused or whatever, then how are you going to leave? They have control of the money. You can't even go to the bank and say, can I get X amount of dollars out? Because you're not even on the account. You don't have a debit card. They control power and control. They control the money. And using coercion and threats. We know what this is, making and are carrying out threats against you. I'm going to say this, if someone makes a threat against you, take it seriously. If they say, I'm going to kill you, take it seriously. Because they'll come back, oh, I didn't mean that, I was just mad. Take it seriously. Threatening to leave, to commit suicide, to report you to, say, child welfare, uh, making you drop charges if you have put charges against them, making you do illegal things. Take it seriously. If you don't come back, I'm gonna kill myself. Coercion and threats to control. So please look at this wheel. And if you are in a situation where any of these apply to your marriage or partnership, or you're just dating, take them seriously. Again, there's a fine line between someone being genuinely concerned about you and wanting to know, have your well-being at heart. But then you're getting to these aspects that are on this wheel. I'm sorry. And it will eventually become a problem. So we're going to talk about the forms of abuse that we sort of hit on already. Physical abuse is the deliberate, aggressive, or violent behavior by one person toward another that results in bodily injury. That's physical. Mental, emotional, psychological abuse, when someone does things to just make you feel bad, say things to just make you feel bad. And that rolls into the verbal abuse, when someone's saying things to make you feel bad. The mental abuse, it could be emotional abuse. It could just be subtle things. Just it's time for bed and they don't want you in the bedroom. That could be, that's so broad that we would have to do a whole nother session on just mental, emotional, and psychological abuse. Economical, financial abuse, we just covered that. When one abusive person has control over the victim's access to economic resources, which diminishes the victim's capacity to support themselves and forces them to depend on the perpetrator financially. And sexual abuse, an act or contact that occurs without the consent of the individual involved, or when the individual is incapable of giving consent. This can include acts of involving force, threats, or exploitation of a power imbalance, and can involve physical contact or other forms of sexual activity. 1 in every 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. 1 in every 4. So if you're in a room or if you are at your job, look around. Count it out. 1 in every 4. That's a lot. Will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. So that means between the time, let's just use the age of 18. But to go back, violence is becoming more prevalent in the teenage high school years with young adults, young teenagers dating. So let's go to 12. Up until whatever age, 100, 80. 1 in every 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime, according to the Centers for Disease Control. The CDC also reported that an estimated 1.3 million women are victims of physical assault by an intimate partner each year, and that 85% of domestic violence victims are women. Which means if 85% are women, we have some men that are being abused. In my studies and in my research and talking to men, I've come to learn, and I knew this, but I don't have the percentage, but men are abused also. And that's the conversation that we don't normalize. And that's the conversation that I am beginning to try to normalize. And the reason why a lot of men don't report, there are some violent women out there. There are some very verbally abusive women out there. There are some women that will swing on you out there. And I think, well, I don't say I think, I know that the reason why the numbers aren't equivalent to the actuality of men being abused is because it's underreported. Men don't report it as often as women. Now think about it. A lot of women don't report it because of shame and different reasons. And if a woman doesn't report it because of those type of things, you can only imagine a man won't report it because of shame and all of that also. And one of the reasons is how are you, a 6'4", 6'1", or a man, and you have this 5'5", 5'6" woman. Those are just numbers I'm throwing out, because it could be vice versa. And this woman has physically abused you, and you call the police. The police come, and you make a report, and what do? They sort of snicker. So you called us because this woman beat you up? They snicker, they laugh sometimes, not all the time, but I've had men to tell me, they'll laugh at us. And it goes underreported. It goes underreported. So just keep that in mind, that you have men that are being abused physically, also verbally, mentally, financially, also. Domestic violence doesn't only affect survivors' physical and mental health and safety, it also impacts your ability to work and your economic security. So what do we do when domestic violence follows us to work? We watch the news anytime within the last 6 months. We've maybe heard of someone who has walked onto someone's job and killed their spouse, or killed their girlfriend, or killed their husband, or killed their boyfriend when this person has left. And you're at work, and they come in, and they walk in with a gun, and they go to shooting. We read about it all the time. It happens. So what do? There are 4 types of employment law that can help domestic violence survivors at work. Laws related to safe leave. Now, I'm going to say this, that all states do not have all of these laws. So you're in Florida, check your Florida laws. And if you're from another state on here, check your state laws to see about the laws that I'm about to talk about to see if they are in effect. And if they're not, then we're going to talk about something else also if your state doesn't have them. So safe leave is paid and unpaid. Job protected time off that survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking can use related to the violence they've experienced. For example, some may use safe leave to prepare for legal proceedings, seek medical or psychological treatment, relocate to receive supportive services. Safe leave is available to the survivor and in some cases to their family. Laws related to anti-discrimination. A few states prohibit employers from making adverse employment decisions against survivors of domestic violence related to the violence they've experienced. For example, Connecticut, it is illegal to fire, refuse to hire, or discriminate against an employee or prospective employee because they are a survivor of domestic violence. That's why I say check your state laws. Laws related to reasonable accommodations. Several states now require employers to provide reasonable accommodations for an employee who is a victim of domestic or sexual violence, or sexual violence could include allowing an employee to work flexible hours or changing the employee's contact information. On the federal level, the Americans with Disabilities Act may require employers to provide reasonable accommodations for survivors who have physical or mental health disabilities as a result of the abuse they've suffered. Sorry. Did I skip one? Okay. Laws related to unemployment insurance. Most states allow survivors to seek unemployment insurance if they are forced from their jobs because of the violence they experience. Example, under Indiana law, an individual who either voluntarily leaves their employment or who is discharged due to circumstances directly caused by domestic violence is not qualified from receiving unemployment benefits, insurance benefits. These laws are very important for the economic security of survivors and their families. The protections that were just listed only capture some of the employment protections that may be available to survivors. These protections are critical as they allow survivors to maintain their economic security while they navigate difficult circumstances. But even if your state doesn't provide these protections, employees can establish their own anti-discrimination, reasonable accommodations, and safe leave policies. So that's what I meant. If your state doesn't have these laws, then you may be able to talk to your employer to say, hey, what do we have in place? Do we have anything in place for victims, for survivors, for domestic violence survivors? So check your state laws first to see if they are available. And if they are available, see if your employer is aware of them. If they're not available via your state laws, then talk with your employer about maybe getting some of these in place at your place of employment. It could really, really help you. It could help because if you are forced from your job, one of the slides said you're forced from your job. A person can make you lose your job. If you're working and you have a person who keeps calling your job, keeps showing up at your job, keeps making a scene at your job, you can't do your work because your phone is ringing because they're wanting to argue and cut up on your job, you may get dismissed from your job, not because you're not doing your job because of your own capabilities, but because you're not able to because of what's going on in your life via the abuser. So there are some things that can be put in place for that. If they have your desk number, maybe you can get your desk extension changed. There are just things that you have to talk to your employer about that can help keep you safe and that can help you keep you with your job. Your mental health and your safety are important, ladies and gentlemen. Your mental health and safety are important. Please, if you are planning to leave, and I want to say this, if you're in a situation where you are trying to leave, be careful because everyone can't just pick up and leave. Some women and some men have tried to leave and it has gotten them killed. It has gotten them killed trying to leave. You have to have a plan. You have to make sure people that love you know what's going on around you. That's why that isolation we talked about on the wheel, you can't let someone isolate you from your friends and family. You have to maintain your good relationships outside of your romantic relationship. You can't let someone isolate you and cut you off from everybody and everyone around you. You have to keep good people in your space because you may not be able to just pick up and leave. He may kill you. She may kill you. So you have to let people around you know what is going on. If you are being abused and hit on, if you're being domestically and hit and beat, please call the police. Please make a report. That is your paper trail. We're in this legal field. We know paper trails mean a lot. Please make a report. If you feel safe enough to, even if you don't feel safe enough to, make the report. Let your family, let your friends know what's going on. And if you can't just pick up and leave, you have to make a plan. Let them help you make a plan of exit. Do not take your safety. If you know this person is violent, you know what could happen potentially if you try to pack up while they're there and leave. So your mental health, if you have been abused physically, mentally, financially, sexually, psychologically, verbally, seek help. Get you a coach, get you a counselor, therapist. Your mental health is important, ladies and gentlemen. So I wanted to say those things to you to let you know that your safety matters, your mental health matters, your children matters, your family matters, because if something happens to you, whether it's dire or not, that affects the people you love around you, and especially if you have children, but it affects you the most. Abuse is never, ever, ever okay in any form. And I'm going to say this, you can be abused by family, you can be abused by friends. It doesn't matter who the abuse is coming from. For purposes of this presentation, I was talking more about romantic relationships, but you have family members that are verbally and mentally. You have friends that are verbally and mentally and sometimes maybe physically violent. It does not matter where the abuse comes from. It is never okay. I wanted to share the domestic violence hotline, and you can text START to 88788. However, you have to get help, please, please do so. This is my contact information. I am a paralegal. This is where my passion and my profession has collided. If you need to speak with me, that is my number. If you need to email me for any reason, that is my email address. And please check out our website It'll show you who we are and what we do and how we help. And if you need coaching, I am a coach. Please reach out to me because your mental health and your safety matter. That is my presentation. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to go back to the, I'm going to go to the, I'm trying to see about the questions.
We can read them to you if you'd like, Sonjanita.
Okay,
Okay, Logan, do you want to read those?
trying to see. Okay, here they go. I can get
Oh,
to
you
these.
got it? Okay, great.
I think I do. Okay, let's see. The first question is, are you able to share these slides after the presentation via email? I had said I will. If it's okay, I will go ahead because it's some information. If you want them, I will. If that's okay with the committee at this point to
Yes,
get
we
them
can
to.
certainly add those, and they will be added to the email that all the attendees will receive tomorrow from the
Okay.
Zoom link. They'll
Okay.
receive it automatically at their email.
Okay. And yes, go ahead.
And Sanjanita, I think a lot of those questions came in while you were talking extensively about the domestic violence wheel.
Okay.
So that was definitely something that folks were interested in, I think.
Okay. And one says, in your experience, is there a specific character trait that you have seen from survivors who leave sooner rather than later when not factoring in financial resources? Yes. That character trait that I've seen from women who left, like just left early, was they were healed, they were confident, they knew who they were, they knew their worth. And sometimes when you're going through with someone, especially if you are a what's the word I'm looking for? A confident person, and you link up with a person who does not have as much confidence as you, sometimes your confidence can be intimidating to them. But I've noticed that women who just say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not going to deal with this. It happened once. I tried to make it work. It didn't happen. It happened again. I'm out. And then some women are out the first time. Those are the women who are bold, who know their worth, who are not afraid of their perpetrator, that those perpetrators have not gotten power and control over them. Now, I'm going to use my own personal experience. I have been divorced for 9 years. Mine was not physical abuse, but it was mental abuse. And I had to talk. We cannot say these things. We cannot do these things. We did counseling. When I did that and it still didn't work, I was out. I was gone. So my marriage meant a lot to me. I wanted to make it work, but it takes two people to make it work. Forgiveness is good, is a thing, is what we should do. But at some point, you have to look at your mental health. And with the things that were going on with me, my mental health was being affected. And it came down to me at one point saying, why wasn't I enough? It had nothing to do with me. I had to recognize that it had nothing to do with me. It was a lack of something on their part. So, as a man or a woman, if you are dealing with this and they're doing things verbally, mentally, cheating, or whatever, it's not, don't let it be a reflection of you. And if you need to leave, leave, but be safe when you leave. I hope that answered the question. Does Florida have safe laws? I am not sure. That is something that you will need to research and try to find. Be sure to request standby for child exchanges. It
And
has been, yes,
Sonjanita, actually, I was just doing a case about
okay,
unemployment. I was doing an unemployment case this morning.
okay,
Chapter 443.101 of Florida statutes. There's an exception in there that allows folks who are the victim of domestic violence in certain circumstances who need to leave their job to be able to get unemployment assistance. So that's one of the laws that's here in Florida that I think
yeah,
you mentioned.
yeah.
And hopefully
That's why I
that,
say they're not in every state, so you have to check your state laws, but they are out there. They are out there. Which laws? Now we see Florida has that one with the unemployment, and there are probably other states, but you would just have to check your individual state law. And I'm gonna assume most of the people here may be from Florida, but there may be some that are not. So please check your state laws. Let me say this person put in, it has been over 35 years and the effects are still there in spite of 2 years of psychiatric care. You speak truth. Yeah, the the mental abuse from whatever you went through, whether it's physical, verbal, emotional, whatever, sexual, it's there. You have to process through your trauma. You have to get, if you need to get a coach or a therapist, please do so. Um, some people can be okay with if you have your pastor or your bishop or your priest or whomever that you can talk to, that may be an option. But if it is affecting you daily after a certain period of time and mentally, please seek help. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. I did therapy after my separation and divorce, and it helped me tremendously. And as I went through my process of healing from my trauma, God gave me this uh, mission to do to help other women or other men that are going through this and to let you know it's okay. It's not the end. You're going to make it through. But there's a process to healing and you have to go through your healing process. Uh, it says text start to, I have to go back. I think you have too many numbers in there, but 88788. I believe that's what it was. Text
yeah.
start to that number. Yes.
And
Can you provide? Yeah.
Sonjanita, there were actually a couple of requests for that phone number again. If you could maybe jump back to that slide for everybody.
Okay. You can Google it also. Let's see. There we go. 800-799-7233 or text start to 88788.
And then circling back to the safe laws you were talking about, another participant gave us a link to Chapter 741.313 Florida statutes, specifically subsection 2A. An employer shall permit an employee to request and take up to 3 working days of leave from work in any 12-month period if they are a victim of domestic violence or sexual violence. The leave may be with or without pay at the discretion of the employer. So it's a weak law, but it's a law here in Florida, I think you might say.
Okay. I have one person that says, how do I report a woman that got an injunction against the husband and intentionally caused husband to fix a toilet and calls the police and calls husband to be arrested and be in jail for 72 hours? Really, it's going to be her word against his. I don't know if there were, and the husband knew there was an injunction, and I understand we have some very good-hearted men and women that want to continue to help even after the crisis has gone down or the abuse. And she got the injunction, but we have some very manipulative people too. And I don't know this woman, but it just sounded like there may be some bitterness, some hatred, and just trying to get someone in trouble. I don't know. I'm in Louisiana. I don't know who you would call. I'm not going to sit here and give you the wrong information. I will give you no information before I give you wrong information. I don't know who you would call on that matter if she got the injunction against the husband and then she calls. I don't know if he has an attorney that he may can speak to about this. I would say start if he has an attorney and he can speak to someone about his attorney about this. I would say that's where he needs to start. What is the name of your program or company? I attended this seminar to gain knowledge in order to help a friend who is a medical profession. Yes, I have a website. I think that is my website. The name of my nonprofit is Dual Support. That is the website, dualsupportinc.org. We have support Saturdays every second Saturday of the month, except for November and December. We take November and December to prepare for the next year. Our September support Saturday has been postponed due to, which would have been on September 13th, due to circumstances beyond our control. But our October support Saturday is still going on in October. They can go there and register for the event. It's a virtual event. It's free. They do not have to come from behind the mic. They can stay behind the screen. We don't try to force anyone on there to speak. If they just want to come and listen, that's fine. We've had some women that would get on and they didn't unmute until maybe 4 months into. I would see them pop on every month. I would recognize their name, but we are a safe space. And I was just grateful that they were there. That showed me that their healing is intentional. And I did not want to force them to say anything, force them to come from behind the screen. And eventually they came from behind the screen. Once they became comfortable with us, they were okay with coming from behind the screen. So if you have someone that you think needs to become a part of our virtuals, that's fine. Please have them sign up. Like I say, September is not there anymore. We're not doing it, but October we are. And then we take a break November and December, and we come back in January. So they could come back in January and sign up for the entire year. They have to do it one at a time, and they will get a notice the morning of with the Zoom link. It's via Zoom. And if they can attend, they can. If they can't, they can't. That's okay. But sometimes you just need that reminder to remind you that, oh, this is going on this morning. Let me get on, or oh, I can't. I'm at work, or I'm doing something with the kids, or I just can't get on. That's okay too.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sonjanita. And thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. The course number for today's webinar is 9222. Again, the number is 9222. So that's 3 twos after the number 9. The webinar has been approved by the Florida Bar Continuing Legal Education Department for 1 hour of general CLE credit. Please self-report this course in the member portal. You will receive an email tomorrow via Zoom outlining this information. I also encourage Florida Bar members and Florida registered paralegals to take advantage of the Florida Lawyers Helpline, which is a completely confidential and free service which entitles you to 5 counseling sessions per year to help you develop strategies to overcome life's challenges, balance priorities, and better handle both personal and professional pressures. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you.